Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Urban Talks with Anthony. Today we're going to have an insightful conversation. For those that are new to the channel, we make mental health conversations and content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being, right? But in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about the psychology of habits, how small changes lead to big mental health benefits, right? I want to be able to recognize, habits in regards to our information and how small positive changes in our daily routine could be able to lead to long-term mental health improvements, right? In order for us to be able to get to where we want to be, we got to be able to recognize the small steps that we're taking, celebrate, and then we're going to be able to progress and get to where we need to be, right? So we have to be able to also take in consideration our daily habits that shape our mental health, and when we realize that, we're able to get to where we need to be when we're making those intentional changes that are going to be able to provide a healthier mind for us. So some key benefits that I want to be able to just dive into in regards to, our first segment in regards to understanding habits and mental health. I want to be able to provide some key points, right? So number one is going to be habit formation. So habits are automatic behaviors that shape our daily experiences and overall well-being, right? So our habits, things that we do, the people that we surround ourselves around, the intention behind it is going to be able to project us to getting to where we need to be. We're not getting there based off of what we're doing. We're going to get the outcomes. So like I said, be intentional and recognize your habits. Next is going to be mental health connection. So healthy habits like consistent sleep and mindfulness practices improve your mood, reduce stress, and enhance your resilience. So like I said, when we're taking care of our mental health, that brain, in addition to our physique and our body, and we're really just being intentional, these are going to be able to help provide us the energy that we need to get to where we need to be. Sleep is really crucial. I made a video about that. Please tap into that as well. But we got to be able to recognize these habits and these healthy habits because it really balances our mood, reduces the stress and that resilience to be able to get to where we want to be. Next is going to be the neuroscience of habits, right? So the brain forms habits through neural pathways. The more a behavior is repeated, the stronger the connection becomes. So the more repetition, the more we're intentional, the stronger things will be for us. And we're going to be able to have that connection. That's going to be really essential for us to really maintain consistency. In regards to some research, I want to be able to provide from a 2021 study from the Journal of Behavioral Medicine found that individuals who adopt one new positive habit report 25% improving in their well-being within the 3 months, right? So these habits, the consistency, you're going to be able to see a significant change. One thing I said to somebody as well is that if you're trying to work on your health, your body, the gym, when you're working out, you're eating right, you're drinking more water, you're getting yourself away from the sodas, the juices, and the high sugars and stuff like that, you're going to see changes in your skin, changes in your body, energy, etc. When you're really trying to progress towards change. Next segment, what I want to dive into is going to be the habit loop. So how habits are formed. So this is going to be able to provide us to change our habits. We need to understand, the habit loop, the cue, the routine, and the reward, right? So let's dive into it. Key point number one is going to be a cue, right? So a trigger that initiates the habit. So waking up in the morning, that's the cue. Next is going to be the routine, the behavior that follows. So checking on your phone, you're stretching, that's the habit that you're initially just diving right into immediately when you wake up, as we're discussing this. Next is going to be reward. So the outcome that reinforces the habit, right? So feeling informed, feeling relaxed, that's the reward, right? Next is going to be breaking bad habits. So identifying cues and replacing the routine with a healthier alternative is key to habit change, right? So breaking bad habits, you got to be able to recognize the cue, you got to recognize your routine and what things that you're doing, and try to suggest to yourself to get into a different habit by making that habit change. In regards to the next, we're going to be talking about research insights. So a research insight from MIT, we found that habit formation relies heavily on repetition and immediately rewards, making small but rewarding changes the most effective approach, right? So when we're identifying the repetition, we're looking at the reward system as well. This is going to be able to help us, make that change as well. So have some compassion for yourself, but you got to be real, in regards to your habits and trying to transition. In regards to our next segment, we're going to dive into small changes but big impact. We got to be able to recognize the small things. Small changes may seem insignificant at first, but over time, you're creating a lasting impact for that future. So let's talk about some adjustments that can, transform that mental health for yourself. Key point number one, we're going to talk about the power of tiny habits. So small manageable habits are more sustainable than drastic lifestyle changes. So you don't got to sit there and destroy everything around you and start from scratch, but just recognize your habits and make them more attainable to you, make them more manageable for you, so you're able to make those adjustments. Next is going to be example adjustments, right? So drink more water, practicing gratitude, setting daily intentions, journaling, doing things that are going to be intentional for you, more purposeful, driven for yourself. As we're talking about when it comes to personal development, Jim Rohn says you want to work on yourself more than you work on your job. These are things that you really want to realign to yourself, because these are the things that are going to be able to help you transition, making things easier for you. One thing that I consider for myself, as mentioned, is drinking more water. For myself, I bought the cases of water and I keep that in my room or in my car, just keeping the things around you that you want to be able to assimilate to, so it's going to help you grow. So making the right adjustments are crucial. Next is going to be habit stacking, right? So preparing a new habit that is existing, one increases success. So stretching while brushing your teeth. So just doing things that, like I said, are in alignment to that change, to help you out. You can just keep stacking positive habits. When it comes to research from the psychological science, found that individuals who are more, who made more minor positive adjustments daily were 40% more likely to sustain them long term. So just recognize, positive adjustments, these habits, the little things that you're doing is going to help you develop the positive patterns that you need to get where you need to be, or the outcomes that you're trying to seek, right? So recognize that, because the small things lead to the big things. In our next segment, we're going to dive into practical tips for building healthy habits, right? So here are going to be some science-backed tips that are going to be able to help you get into some positive habits that are going to be able to stick with you with consistent practice. So we're going to start small, focus on micro habits that require minimal effort but provide long-term benefits, right? So if we know that it's not healthy for us to jump right initially into our phone, let's try to, before we hop into our phone, do some mindfulness and do some breathing, do some meditation, or even do some, gratitude journaling, just to get your mind channeled into that positivity, into changing your habits, right? So start small, look at the little things to get the beneficial outcomes. Next is going to be track progress, right? So use trackers like apps to reinforce your consistency. The biggest thing that I'd be telling people too is that notebook, and get yourself a pen or pencil, writing things down, because when you're writing these things down, you're going to be able to see that natural growth, because this is your hand, this is your work, this is your your penmanship, and you're going to be able to track your progress from your initial thoughts and your own information. Next is going to be use positive reinforcement. So reward yourself strengthens habit formation, right? So you got to celebrate. Only you know what you're going through. Only you know what it took you to get, break these habits and etc. You got to be able to celebrate yourself. You got to be able to have that compassion. Love yourself. Take yourself out to eat. Do whatever you got to do that's going to make yourself, feel good in regards to whatever reward that is desired for you. This is going to be accountability, right? So partnering with a friend increases that commitment. So talk to someone that you trust, maybe a mentor, a loved one, a friend, perhaps, and this can be able to help, increase the outcomes that you're, trying to get aligned to. Next is going to be, some research that's going to be backed from the National Institute of Mental Health from 2023, found that accountability and positive reinforcement increases habit success by 50%, right? So when you have someone that, is positively aligned to support your vision, your goal, and that's going to keep you accountable, in addition to, these positive reinforcements of, being compassionate to yourself, loving yourself, and really motivation, keeping that motivation is going to be able to help you, get these outcomes that you desire. And as backed by research, it increases your habit success by 50%. So you're going to see significant changes throughout these transitions as you're adjusting. Next segment we're going to dive into is when to seek professional help. As you know, sometimes we may struggle, sometimes we may, have negative cycles. Our brain may be on some, different stuff and we have intrusive thoughts. However, support is out there, right? So if you're struggling to break down negative cycles or maintain healthy habits, seeking professional support can be beneficial. Some key points I want to dive into is going to be behavioral therapy. So cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, helps with rewiring, those patterns and sustaining healthy habits, right? So diving into those thoughts, evaluating them, assessing them, and then, adding some of that positive psychology to be able to, get your mind back into those healthy habits, so you can get to yourself where you need to be. Next is going to be habit coaching. So working with a coach that can be able to provide structure and accountability. This is essential because sometimes we need that support. Sometimes we may need a partner. Sometimes we may need someone that's going to be able to help us be accountable and just, be a helping hand. So a habit coach could be beneficial. Next is going to be mental health support. If habits are linked to deeper emotion challenges, therapy can address underlying issues. When you have a professional, so that has a solution as well. When it comes to research from a 2020 report of the American Psychological Association found that structured behavior in regards to therapy improves long-term habits retention by 60%. So when we have professionals and we're seeking professional help, this is going to really help us, get to the outcomes and the things that we want in regards to, reforming our habits. So the support's out there, the solution's out there, and we, advocate for ourselves and we seek that help. It's going to be able to help us tremendously. Overall, we talked about, small steps, make big mental health benefits and help us, create better habits, so small daily changes add up to long-term better mental health. So when it comes to these habits, I want us to really take into consideration. If you found this video beneficial, like, subscribe, comment, share, help other people out here, get their habits together so they realign themselves to where they need to be, so they can have the best outcome for themselves. If you found this video beneficial, once again, throw that thumbs up. Take it easy. See you on the next one for more intentional content.